Welcome to Silvachar's Biochar Highway series with Kevin Smith. What is biochar?
Great question. Biochar is a high-quality charcoal created at higher temperatures than the typical charcoal. Most charcoals are created around 400 degrees and often have a lot more oils and tars still within the pores of the charcoal. And when it is created at a higher temperature, closer to 700 or 800 or even 900 degrees, those micropores are cleaned out even further, creating a higher pure carbon structure. And that's what we call biochar. Biochar is also specifically made from organic material. You can make charcoal from any burnt product, basically. You can make charcoal out of diapers or tires or anything like that, but biochar specifically is designed for a soil amendment.
How biochar is made?
When organic material, or any material for that matter, is heated at a very high temperature, it will begin to off-gas. And those off-gases are typically combustible when mixed with oxygen, and that's where you get combustion. If you limit the amount of oxygen that mixes with those gases, then you don't get the flame, you don't get full combustion. And the carbon structure itself does not combust. It stays a carbon skeleton. And so the way biochar is made is controlling the oxygen levels within the chamber where the pyrolysis process is happening. So again, it's not so much burning the material, but cooking it at very high temperatures, such as 700 degrees Celsius.
What is pyrolysis?
Pyrolysis is the process of cooking organic material in oxygen-deprived environment. To get combustion, you need fuel, heat, and oxygen. By limiting the oxygen level, you can impede the combustion, which just allows basically the charring of the carbon structure rather than combustion of the carbon. So to create biochar, we're taking organic material, wood waste, and putting it through the pyrolysis process.
The benefits of biochar.
So there's a lot of environmental benefits to the use of biochar. First, let's start with the production of it. Biochar, in and of itself, comes from organic material. Organic material, when it decomposes, off-gases carbon dioxide. If you burn the organic material, it off-gases carbon dioxide. And there's a lot of hype right now about carbon emissions. Now, it's not just carbon, there's a lot of other gases out there that are way more harmful to the ozone or to the atmosphere or to the climate as a whole than just carbon. But when you take all those different types of gases and compare them, they always refer to as CO2 equivalent. Okay, so everyone talks about it as CO2. Instead of burning or getting rid of this waste material, in most cases, woody biomass, especially in Canada, we have lots of woody biomass from logging or or even from farming. We're pretty good at using most farming on waste, but in forestry specifically, there's no real market for the biomass, and so a lot of that is burned. So the environmental benefit is you avoid the carbon emissions that takes place during open burning of the waste material. That's number one. Number two, you're not just avoiding the emissions, you're actually capturing it. So you're actually retaining the carbon and locking it up for long periods of time, hundreds of years, if not thousands of years. So you're giving the climate a chance to kind of come back and regain. We're actually reversing climate change by capturing that carbon that otherwise would have been emitted. So it's carbon negative. And now the third thing would be the actual application of the biochar and what it does for your soil. It basically creates a carbon filter for your soil. It retains water and nutrients. So it reduces the need for excess watering or excess fertilization to your fields. It retains it and filters the nutrients so it's not flowing into the nearby streams, causing algal blooms in the lakes and the rivers. So there's tons of kind of chain events that can happen from over-fertilizing, and biochar really retains that nutrients to cut down on the over-fertilization of our fields. And additionally, it's going to increase the crop production, which is going to reduce costs of fertilizer, costs of our food, and animal feed. So there's a lot of environmental benefits that come with the use of biochar.
Carbon sequestration.
All right, so when you hear sequestration of carbon sequestration, it is the absorption and the capture, if you would. So there's the capture, and the sequestration is where it's no longer able to be emitted to the atmosphere. To fully understand sequestration, you have to understand the capturing stage of the CO2, and that takes place during photosynthesis. We've all gone through elementary school. We understand the basic understanding that plants absorb CO2. So any photosynthetic tissue, such as trees and plants, they absorb CO2 from the atmosphere, storing the carbon for cell structure and expelling the oxygen which we breathe. Wonderful. So as the plants grow, they store carbon in their cellular structure, which is that's the capturing part. And then the storage is in the cell structure, and the sequestration part is when we take that carbon and we store it in the soil. Now it doesn't necessarily have to be in the soil once it is stored in, for instance, lumber. Okay, that's also storing or sequestering the carbon in that structure. So if you got 2x4s, any lumber yard is full of carbon. However, that wood is unstable. It will degrade over time. It's just sitting out in the sun. It's going to degrade very slowly. If you were to burn it or increase the rate of decomposition, then it's going to start expelling the CO2 that is captured within that wood. By going through the pyrolysis process, that carbon is made much more stable and fixed. It's pure carbon, and it doesn't degrade over time at the rate of any other state. So by taking that biochar, you could leave it on the surface of the soil or out in the air, and it's going to actually filter gases in the air. However, it has way more value in the soil to increase microbial activity and soil carbon content. So that is the storage process. So you capture the carbon from the atmosphere, stores it in the cells, and then sequesters it in the soil.
Kevin Smith's invitation for you.
So I've only touched on a few things about biochar and the benefits of it. There are so many more uses of biochar. Please check out our website at www.silvachar.ca, and you'll find a lot more information of the uses of biochar, how it's created, and what we are doing at Silvachar to make a difference in the utilization of forest waste and making this magnificent product available to you and hopefully the world as a whole. So look up biochar, check out our website, and if you feel inclined, purchase some of our biochar.
Half-liter biodegradable small bag. 10-liter bucket. Stay tuned for the next episode.